Welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am excited to be chatting once again with Amy Scott Grant, and we're going to share with you there are only two reasons why you don't already have what you want. So, welcome, Amy. Share a little bit about yourself. Tell everybody who's watching what it is that you do, and then we're going to jump right into these two reasons.
Okay, awesome. And I tell you what, you know what, Trish, I'm going to do something that all the marketing people say don't do, but I don't listen to them anyway. Is right off the bat, like, okay, I'll do a quick intro, whatever, and then I'm just going to give people the answers. This isn't like you have to hang out for 29 minutes to find out what the answer to the question. No, we don't play like that. So, hi everyone, I'm Amy Scott Grant, and I don't know, I've been doing this a long time. Been doing a lot of energy and healing work for like around 20 years. I have a lot of books that I've written and published, and a couple of them bestsellers. So all that's on Amazon. You can find all that. But the short version of it is I never set out to be any kind of speaker or healer, anything like that. I fell ass backwards into it, frankly. Because I really just was always working on myself. I wanted to work on myself, and I was learning some like other people's methods, and I will be honest with you, they were all just way too slow for me. So they were too slow and they were too redundant. Like the you had to
Mm.
keep, I remember the first time somebody taught me how to do cord cutting, like energy cords. And I was frustrated with the situation. And so I was talking to a friend and she walked me through it. And I did it. I was like, wow, I felt better. And then like 10 minutes later, I was ticked off again. So I called her up. Hey, that didn't work. Like, she's
Yeah.
like, oh, girl,
Yeah.
you might have to cut that cord 100 times. I was like, who has time for that? I don't have time
Yeah.
for that. So I was like, so really, I just, in the process of working on myself, I ended up sourcing my own methods for healing and making them as efficient as possible. Maybe that's because I'm an MBA who happens to be an energy healer. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
like fast, efficient processes. So, and I like once and done. And so that was what I discovered just from working on myself. And then people kept showing up, and I had this like nudge, like, oh, you could help them with that. You could fix that. I'm like, I don't want that sounds weird. This is private. I want to be talking about this, and here now, I don't know what, 9, 10 books later, it's not so private. Okay. So people know what I do. But what makes my method different from anything I had seen at that time is that I found that by going back to the originating incident, whether you know what that was or not, whether that was in this lifetime or not, if we go back to the originating incident and clear it, it's gone forever and it completely shifts everything moving forward. So I liken it to, the difference between cutting off a weed at the ground level versus completely removing the entire root ball and the whole root system. Because once that's gone, no more weed there. And what could you put there? Literally anything, right? It's the same way with clearing work. So that's kind of the short version of what I do. And if I didn't say this already, Trisha, thanks for having me out. I know we've known each other a long time.
A long time.
So I was very excited when you said you were going to start doing interviews again, and I was very honored that you asked me to come out on your show. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. A long time.
Mhm.
But yes, it's interesting because learned a lot of energy work as well.
Oh
And it
yeah.
just felt so regimented. And it was like all of these processes that you had to follow. And I took a lot of classes and I'm like, I took a little piece here, a little piece here. I merged everything. And I think it's each one of us has our own way of doing it. So,
Definitely. Definitely. In fact, that
mm,
cord cutting thing, I will tell you. So I was like, no, I'm not going to be doing anything 100 times except maybe
no.
blinking, breathing, right? Like I don't have any intention of doing anything that many times. So I ended up like creating my own version of the cord cutting where it's once and done. So, by the way, if anybody wants that, it's free. It's on my website. If you opt into my newsletter, that is the free gift that you get. I literally walk you right through that process so you could do a cord cutting once and done. And I totally hear you about the regimented thing because again, when I first started out and somebody showed me how to use the pendulum, I was
Mm,
like, this is cool. I'm like, people need this. There are people that can't get clear information, can't get direction, or if they're making a decision or they can't have confidence in their decision once they make it. I'm like, this could really benefit a lot of people.
mm,
So went to my nearest whatever, metaphysical shop and looked for books, and I was frankly shocked at the kind of books that were so regimented. Like you said, there were charts and graphs, and first you have to do this, and then you have to do that. And I'm like, that all seems very unnecessary. And so I ended up, one of the books that I wrote was the book that I couldn't find. Like I was like, this is what people need. It's very simple and straightforward. And here's how to phrase questions in the simplest manner possible so that you eliminate bias and there's no confusion. I'm really all about clarity. That was the first book I wrote. One, two, three, clarity, right? Like I really that's what I want to do is help people to get clear. And first part of getting clear is having clarity. And then the second part of getting clear is removing all those blocked out fears and limiting beliefs so that you can be clear to create whatever you want. But yeah, no, we're not down with the regimented stuff, right? No.
I'm all about quick and easy. If it's
Yes.
not quick and easy, or if you've got to meditate for 3 hours, that's definitely not me.
Ain't nobody got
And
time for that. No.
quick and easy. But I
Yeah.
definitely want to jump into these two reasons. And I really do want to actually point back at clarity because so many people don't even know what they want. And this one is forever with me is I want freedom. Okay, that's an ambiguous word. I
Kind of
remember,
charged too. It's like an emotionally charged word too.
yes, and I remember, you know, because several years ago, I want freedom, I want freedom, I want financial freedom, I want this freedom. And I was like, it means zero to me. It moved the
Mhm.
needle negative. And then I remember just sitting, and I probably spent a good day or two literally taking apart the word freedom so that I understood for myself what I desired out of freedom, what was my end result. And it's like people just they throw around these ambiguous words and then get upset because nothing's happening because you don't even know if you really want it. I mean, we all want freedom, but what does freedom really mean? What is freedom going to give you? So yes, off my soapbox.
And that makes me think too, like how many clients I've talked to over the years that say they want financial freedom, and then you say, because I know you probably do the same thing, Trish, you go, okay, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that look like to have financial freedom? And 9 times out of 10, their response is, to be out of debt. I'm like, okay, that's a great goal to eliminate your debt, but if you're out of debt, then you're at zero. Like you're not ahead. You're just not behind anymore. So I'm like, that's not so and it you have to keep probing, right? Well, I promised that I would get into the two answers right away, and you already hit one of them, right? The only two reasons that you don't already have what it is that you really want is either A, you don't know what you really want, like Trisha just pointed to, right? Or B, you have some type of block, belief, doubt, some type of limitation that has you not believing that you can have what you really want. And this is why I'm so passionate about clarity, right? About clearing, getting people clear, A, on what it is that they want, and then getting them clear, getting all their crap cleared so that there's no more holdup, there's no more delays, there's no more self-sabotage, there's no more emotional and mental conflict, there's no more, all the things that, when I first started doing this, I realized pretty quickly that, and it's been like 20 years now, but when I first started doing it, I realized pretty quickly that like people who just thought the law of attraction was like, like they saw The
Oh
Secret.
yeah.
Remember that movie? I'm like, if you saw The Secret, it just blew your mind. You're
Yes.
probably not ready for the work that I do. Like, just to be honest, like, because again, like you can affirm something to death,
Yeah.
but if you're not dealing with whatever is in you that's probably invisible, it's probably in a blind spot for you,
Mhm.
then you're going to sit there wondering why your affirmations aren't
Mhm.
working, right? And Trisha, I know you went through some similar stuff, right? Before you got into the things that you do now, which are so much more powerful than kind of, I mean, we all have to start somewhere. I started somewhere. I just started doing whatever. Like, let me try this, let me try that. I was just trying to fix me, like I was just like, I'm not happy with this and this and I want to be better. And so I'm willing to try these things and see what happens because it really about results for me. I didn't care
Mhm.
how many followers the person had. Let's be honest, when we first started doing this, did we even have followers? No, like you had maybe book sales, you maybe had an email list, but we didn't even have social media really back then. So there were no like followers and stuff. It was like I didn't care if somebody was brand new or if they'd been doing this for 50 years. All I cared was like, does their method work? Does it work for me?
Yeah.
And if it works for me, then that was enough. So I'm very like results driven for myself and for my clients. But yeah, if we don't deal with that underlying stuff, if you're affirming 1,000 times a day or writing 1,000 times a day that you have financial freedom, but you have these old beliefs that say, it's spiritual to be poor, or, our family doesn't have money like that, or that if there's
Mm.
any kind of conflict in there or not deserving, right? That's a huge one. If there's any of that in there, like, I mean, it's going to take you forever, millions and millions of affirmations to shift that. When really you could just go right back to that original, like, oh, this is where this all started, and shift that, and boom, you're done. Or you can work with you, Trisha, and just reprogram your brain, right? Like, I mean, they're compatible methods for sure. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And I'm just curious, what strategies do you tell people to utilize to get clear? Because, and I love this story. Like years ago, it was the thing on the internet, the laptop lifestyle. And
mm,
I was so, "Oh, that's me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And it took me several years to be like, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to go away and do what I want to do and not have to worry about a lap. So like I was forcing myself to participate in something that I wanted nothing to really do with it. And it just, but I was like, oh, but everybody's doing it. I should do it. So I
that
definitely
cool
jumped
kid
on that.
syndrome, right?
That
Like
I
all the
jumped
cool
on that
kids have like
bandwagon and
Tim Ferriss had that book, right? 4 Hour Work Week, that like
yes.
instant boom, overnight
Mhm.
bestseller, all that. Yeah, I remember that whole era. I can't tell you how many things I thought I wanted and then
Yep.
tried and was like, ew, I don't like I remember Mini Cooper came to the US. And I was like, oh my God, that's the cutest car ever. I want a Mini Cooper. And we were driving by. So I was like, law of attractioning that, right? Like, I'm going to get a Mini Cooper, whatever, visualizing all that. We were driving past a used car lot way back then. And I saw one and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go test drive it. Oh my God, I would rather drive a soup can around. I felt like I was like I'm short and my knees were like up in the steering wheel. Like, that was the stupidest car for me. I'm like, rip up all those papers. I'm like, I don't even want that. Um, so how, okay, what methods do I give people? I'm going to be honest with you, Trisha. It's a done for you thing. So as far as helping people to get clear, it's done for you. Like people book a Get Your Mojo Back session with me, and that is the whole point of the session, is to get complete clarity about what they actually want, where they went off track, what's in their way between here and there, and all of that. So, because I'm not by any means saying that people can't get clarity on their own, but a lot of times there's so much noise going on here
Mm.
that it's very difficult, I think, for people to just sit down and figure that out. And it can take a lot of time, which, let's be honest, we don't always want. to take a lot of time, right? Like it's especially if, imagine if you want to change careers and you're miserable in your job. Okay, you don't want to like wait 6 months till you figure it out, right? You don't if you're in a toxic relationship of some kind, like you don't want to wait 2 years to figure out what it is that you really want, which I mean, that's kind of the whole point of hiring an expert to help you with something, right? So as far as my clarity process, that is very done for you. And it's remarkable how much we get through in just that first 1 hour mojo. That one, we only ever do one mojo, and then here's your list of here's what what it's a very light bulb kind of thing, right? When people are like, oh my God, that's so right. Right. And so, but it's easier, as you know, being when you're outside, like my head's cluttered with my own stuff. It's not cluttered with my client's stuff, right? So
Hmm.
I can ask those probing questions, get right to the heart, not just from knowing what to ask, but just from intuition and the guidance that I get when I'm doing the work, right? So we can cut through a lot of noise and nonsense in that first session.
Yeah.
And then that gets your mojo back session. People walk away with a list of exactly what there is to clear and in what order it is optimal to clear. So at the end of that session, some people just do that and that's it. And they can use their own healing methods, their own clearing methods, and get all that, work through that list. Other people say, hey, Amy, I'd like to have your help with that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I give people strategies for getting clarity. I would say I just do it for them. That's usually what people are hiring me for. Either that or,
Mhm.
people that have the second issue and not the first issue, right? Where they're like, no, I know exactly what I want, but why am I not there yet? Right? Like I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
clear on what I want. I want to earn this much a year. I want this kind of relationship. I want these toys. I want this level of health. I want this type of
Hmm.
satisfaction and emotions in my life. And I keep hitting this wall, right? So yeah, I have
And
this
that's
weird thing in
interesting.
my human design where I forget what channel it is, but it's the one that says you succeed where others fail. And
Oh,
so people typically find me when they have already gone as far as they can on their own, or they've already gone as far as they can with other healers and mentors, and they're like, I need this one thing handled. So, and then boom, we do it. It's fun. It's so fun.
yeah. Well, you know what it is too? It's also hard, and I've definitely myself included, and I've had clients too where you don't even want to acknowledge that because I remember when I shut down one business and completely went down this path. Like I was like, what am I nuts? But and a lot of people get stuck in that
Oh,
because
yeah.
that is the path that they took, and they're like, I'm going to be on this path. That's it. And they don't realize they have the opportunity and the chances to make those changes and get that additional clarity. And you're right. Sometimes we get in our own way that we are unable to see the forest from the trees and be able to make those choices and have that clarity because we have so much damn noise going on in our own heads.
Yeah. And sometimes you're in a spot where there's so much to do,
Yeah.
that all you can do is just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's why I say it really does. It takes time if you to do it on your own. It typically, I mean, yes, there are those times where you get that flash of insight, and you're
Mm,
like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do next, right? But then what do most people do? They put that on the back burner. Okay, yeah, well, let me just get through tax season. Let me just get through the school year. Let me just get my kids out of college. Let me just, get through this next hurdle at work. It's like, so then we put stuff off sometimes, but I think like you're saying too, sometimes people get very stuck when whatever they're doing right now is paying the bills,
mm.
or, even if they're not happy, they're not satisfied, they want to do something else, they want to step away. It can feel really scary. Like there's a lot of beliefs that people have around stuff like, I don't want to, I'm too old to like start all over, or
Yeah.
my bills are too high to just walk away from this and start this other. thing, which is all just it's all just limitation because really anything is possible. But you can only do what your belief network is
Mm-hmm.
allowing you to do, right? And
Yeah.
you can set goals outside of that, but it's going to be a constant like internal conflict until you remove all of those blocks and obstacles that are saying, I don't know that that's going to happen, or, ooh, I don't know that you can have that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, or I don't feel safe with it.
Yeah. I'm too this, I'm not enough that. Yeah.
Hmm. All the stories that we have learned growing up from society, from our parents, our friends, from what we have seen, right? Yeah, we take that on and we take it as ours. And these are the excuses that we give as to why we can't move forward.
And it's not even, excuse me, it's not even like that is how do I want to say this? It's not like it's your fault, right? It's
Mhm.
not like, oh, I'm carrying all this crap and it's my fault. No, that was a coping mechanism. In all the years that I've been doing this, what I've learned is like something went wrong and you created a belief as a way to protect yourself from that happening. Like, when you were really little, if you touched something hot, it burned. So then you learned not to touch anything hot again, right? But then that also as a protective mechanism, that might mean you were afraid to cook or grill or maybe you were terrified if your child decided they wanted to grow up and be a firefighter and you're like, fire bad, right? Like
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, it's not like, oh, well, you screwed up and you took no, that was a protective function that you did this as a coping mechanism. And so, but odds are you don't need that anymore, or you went a little too far and it's like needs to be reined back. It doesn't mean if we clear, like if you have a fear of fire and I help you clear a fear of fire, you're not going to go around picking up hot coals. Like don't worry about that. Like you're still gonna have common sense, right? Like although I don't know if you ever did it, Trisha, but I did do that walking on
Nope.
400 degree, was it 400 or 4,000? I don't know. That was crazy, but that was cool. That was very, very cool. I have done spoon bending, walking on hot coals, all that kind of stuff, which is a mind over matter situation. But that's a sidebar. But anyway, yeah. So like if you just because you get that clear doesn't mean that you're losing all safety around that
Huh?
thing. It's just a lot of times it's like we went a little far. We need to modify that. Just like when people have soul contracts. I've had a lot of experience with that. Like modifying people's soul contracts or just dissolving them if it's optimal to dissolve it. But sometimes you want to still be in a relationship with someone that you have a soul contract with. But the way that the contract is written is really limiting one or both of you. And so it just needs to be modified. But again, if that's there, that's another one of those things that most people don't think to go check for that. Like, let me see if I have a soul contract and that to be broke and that's why I don't have any money. It's like that's not a thing that might cross your consciousness unless you're in this type of work like Trisha and I am and you do this all the time, but that's probably not something you think about, right? So there is a lot going on sort of on an invisible realm that is all going on within you but is just not stuff that you're aware of. It certainly doesn't help that we're just bombarded all day long.
Yes.
It's just nonce, the bings and the bongs and the people in public places with their volume up as they're watching videos. I don't know about y'all. That's a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, people, I'm like, what's wrong with you? We're the dentist waiting room. Why do you have to have your headphones? Ever hear of them? Right?
Mhm.
But no,
Yeah.
but even so, it's not even just your stuff that you're subscribed to and whatever. It's
Yeah.
everything all around you. So it's the world today makes it difficult for people to sit down and just get clear.
Mhm.
Because if it were easy to sit down and get clear, I wouldn't have needed to write any of these books. I wouldn't, like Trisha and I would be out of work, right? Like, no, we wouldn't. We do something else. But I mean, people would not need our healing services if it was easy to just quiet everything and sit down and like really go deep and look at what's there. But it's sometimes it's buried for a reason. Sometimes we're afraid to look at it. Sometimes there's
Mm-hmm.
just so much noise. Sometimes we're just way too busy, doing life, like taking care of all the things that we think we absolutely have to take care
Yeah.
of. And sometimes we just don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of what I really love about this work is that because people kind of come to me in all stages of that. And it's very gratifying to be able to just like, we have this hour, right? That they have carved out of their schedule, that they have created an exchange of energy for. In other words, they have paid me. And so I'm fully present because I'm here and working with them. And what we can get done in that focused hour is like, it just blows me away every time, right? It blows them away too, because they know they wouldn't have got that done with an hour because if they carved out an hour for themselves, what are they doing? Oh, there's my phone. Oh, social media. Oh, doorbell.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
but if you pay somebody else for an hour, you're like, nobody talk to mom. I'm on the phone, right? Like you carve everything out and have that sort of like you're invested in that time
Mhm.
then. And so it becomes like sacred and then we have the space to do a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
there's nothing cooler than this work. I know Trisha feels the same way. There's just nothing cooler than doing what we do, right? And helping people to just whatever, leave all that stuff, dissolve it, move forward, expand, whatever it is that they're specifically seeking. It is the
Yeah.
most gratifying thing to
Mhm.
me. It
And
is.
watching them transform and just they become a different person. It's phenomenal to see. It
It
really is.
is, right? And sometimes you even have to point it out. You're like, "Did you hear what you just said?" Like I've done that on calls before too, right? Like, "Did you hear yourself? Are you even the same person that showed up looking for my like to looking to work with me a month ago? Do you hear how different that is?" They'll be like, "Oh my God, you're right. That would have totally like I would have had this reaction or that reaction or whatever." I'm like, oh, so your mother said that horrible thing, and you're like, isn't that crazy? Boom, and you're moving on. I'm like, this is what's happening here. This is a whole different, it's like, oh yeah, because sometimes I think the change is so swift and so
Yeah.
complete that you forget how horrible it was before you did the clearing, right? It's like, oh wait, you're right. That totally would have spun me out, or I would have been pissed about that for a week, or I would have, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's huge. I love it.
Yeah.
The
And it's coming
transformation is
from
big.
at that point, it's coming from a place of neutrality. It's
Yes,
you're at a place of neutrality. It's like, okay,
yes.
I got this. It's okay.
And you
Yeah.
can handle anything from a place of neutrality, right? Because there's no emotional charge. So you can just go, okay, it is what it is. Or if there's something for you to deal with, your like logical processes and your brain have the space to go, okay, what are we going to do about this? Let's see. I could do this. I could do this.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you're overrun with emotion, you can't think about Jack when you're like steeped in emotion because the
Hmm.
the emotions are what's driving the bus, right? So when
Oh
you get
yeah.
to that space of neutrality, everything becomes like handleable. That's not a word. I just made it up, but it is. Everything can be handled, right? It's handleable if you're in a space of neutrality.
Yes, definitely, definitely. All right. So it's about that time. I would love for you to share where people can reach out to you and what it is you're up to next.
Yes. So, wow, 30 minutes goes fast, doesn't it?
I know.
It's like a blink. So, okay, yeah. So, if you want to connect with me, look, y'all, I'm very old school, right? I don't really do social media. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on kind of anything, but I pick up the phone. Like when people call, I answer emails myself. Like I don't use bots. So, I would love to connect. one-on-one, right? Either email, phone, whatever. But if you just want more information, you could go to my website, askamyanything.com. If you want to book a Get Your Mojo Back session, that is the one-off session to get complete clarity and your blueprint of like what there is to clear in what order.
Mhm.
Then you just go to askamyanything.com/mojo. And I have a new group healing program starting up. I have retreats coming down the pipe. I have another book that I'm working on now, and I do take a few private clients, but it all starts with that Get Your Mojo Back session. And then you do the Get Your Mojo Back, and then that's applied to like then if you're going to do coaching, we just apply that to it. So you're never out like anything for the mojo. So yeah, so that's pretty much where to go. I have a ton of videos. I've been doing this a long time. So there's a lot of free content for me on YouTube, and all of my books are on Amazon. So you can just put in my name, Amy Scott Grant, in Amazon authors, and you'll be able to find all of my books and all that. But I would love to connect with people, talk to people. And if you want that permanent cord cutting, the super efficient once and done cord cutting, then just go to askingmeanything.com and opt in for my newsletter, and you'll get that as a complete free gift from me.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, Amy.
Thank you
It
for
has
having me
been
here.
fabulous as always. And everybody, I am wishing you a wonderful rest of your Wednesday night evening. Bye, all.
Sounds good. Bye.